everybody. My name is Alyssa Cooper, and I am literally cooking, and we're back in quarantine. I told y'all this would happen. So the schools are closed again in New York. I really thought it would be December 12th before this happened, so I lose. I'm glad I didn't bet anybody other than my own self, but cheers, ain't nothing to do but drink and cook anymore. So if you'd like to have some kind of a fete for the holidays, I'll be happy to ship wine to your house and lead everybody. I'm going nowhere, boys and girls. I'm right here. So to my New York friends, I'm going to do a big shout out to my neighbor Holly, who gave me a 2-hour massage yesterday, and I have never felt better in my whole entire life. She is a magician. So please reach out to me if you're in New York and you're looking for somebody to do body work. I can't recommend her highly enough. She's on the 20th floor of my building. Wraparound windows, amazing space. If the weather's nice, you can be outdoors on her deck. It's really amazing. So now I've got to turn this heat way down. We, boys and girls, are making Boeuf Bourguignon. And I have already gotten up and I have rendered down the bacon. Now you can use bacon, you can use lardon, you can use really greasy glasses. But you want to get that started and get that fat, and then you want to pull that out and leave the fat in. Add a little more, a little more oil before I tossed in my meat to cook, right? So the meat is cooking, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to toss in an onion. So what have I done here? I have 4 ounces of the lardon. I have 1.5 pounds of chuck cubed, salted, and caramelized. And now I'm putting an onion and 1/2 pound of carrot in here. So I looked at several different recipes. Boeuf Bourguignon, anything that's classically French. I'm going to look at Julia's recipe because I love me some Julia. She was my age when she got started on her cooking career. So I like to feel like I really feel close to her. And I still feel like I should turn that down, but it's on really low heat. Now there's so much meat fat on my glasses that I can't see. So give me a second to get myself together before I move on to the next portion of it, which I think is lighting things on fire. So there's that. And I should probably be able to see what I'm doing before I light things on fire. So I definitely should know, where the lighter is. That's something that's coming up and very exciting. So I've got all this now. I had so much fond and almost like burned bits in the pan that this is already starting to look amazing. And all of that color is coming up and soaking up off the bottom of the pan. This is going to be just amazing. I don't know if you can see this, but look how brown my onion is just from all of that deliciousness on the bottom of the pan. So there's that. And here we go. So that's cooking. Now I have to look and see. I've only made Boeuf Bourguignon one other time in my life that I recall. So what is next? Onions. Oh, and I need some garlic. So let's get some garlic going in here. I'm just going to grab a couple of cloves here and then put on my list that clearly I need to get some more garlic pretty soon. So I need a teaspoon of garlic. I'm going to get, we're getting down to the little cloves. I probably should have thought about this ahead of time, shouldn't I? But I've been talking to my dear friend Lon on the phone the last little bit, who supposed to be here watching me, but he's probably not remembered how to sign into his Facebook, which he doesn't use very often. But he gets a congratulations. He paid off his law school loans today. Can you imagine how overjoyed you must be? It's got to be, there are only a few days in your life that could be that great, right? Paying off your house, you know, your kid gets, you know, goes in the first round of the NBA draft. I mean, there's just not many, or, you know, wins, you or your kid wins Olympic gold, or, I don't know, your restaurant gets Michelin starred. I don't know what. There's not many things in this world that can be quite as exciting as that kind of a thing. So awesome, awesome, awesome. So I'm gonna get as much garlic in this pan as I can, as fast as I can. Boom. Boom. Just grating and trying. My fingernails are so long because I haven't been to the nail salon in so long. And so I'm just trying not to get fingernail in the dish. By the way, that spinach soup I made last night ended up getting eaten after the magnificent massage I had. It was just exactly what the doctor ordered. And for a kind of late night, end of the day, delicious meal. So now I've gotten a bunch of garlic down in here, and I'm even going to let the bigger pieces go in there. There we go. I'm going to give this a little stir with my tongs. Beautiful. And here we go. All right, so what's next on my list? I'm going to put my garlic in. Beef, cube, carrots, onions. I need to put a little more salt in here, it seems to think, but I'm not going to put as much as it says because I use the pancetta instead of, rather than lardon, so that would be a little bit saltier, and you can always add more salt, but boy, it's hard to fix an overly salty something or other. So this has been cooking about long enough, and and the garlic is in and cooking a little bit more. And now it's time to do my favorite part. I love to play this part. So now I need a 1/4 cup. The recipe calls for cognac, but I've got brandy. If you're not aware, it's basically the same thing. It's a geographical issue, mostly. So here we go. There's my 1/4 cup of cognac. Boom. I want to get that around in there a little bit, and then I'm gonna light it on fire. There we go. This is part of the reason that I have metal around my stove, so that when I do things like this, natural hand sanitizer, I'm not gonna melt the paint off my wall. Now the paint could be melting behind, but you can't see it, so it doesn't matter, right? What you can't see. I remember when I was a kid in music school, there was a girl who didn't shave the backs of her legs because she said, I don't see them, why should I shave them? So I'm kind of like, if the paint's melted back here, I don't care, all right? All right, so now all the flame has burnt off of the cognac, and I've got just a nice little bit of really delicious, rich slurry. Hello, Ron Jordan. And cooking down the onions, the garlic, and the carrots. And then, what do you think is next? I think we're probably getting pretty close to the end. Then I'm going to put the meat and the bacon back in, or in my case, the pancetta back into the thing. And what's next? Let's see. And then I want to stir it back in, and I'm going to then just cover with, I think it just said wine, but when does the beef broth come into this? That's one of the reasons I think that I decided I liked this. So I'm going to add the wine. So this is going to be a 1/2 bottle of wine. I have a little less than a 1/2 bottle of wine here, so that's okay. And you guys, when a recipe calls for a really specific wine, yes, this is beef Burgundy. That's what Bourguignon means. But that doesn't mean you've got to go out and buy a bottle of Premier Cru Chambon Moussigny to put in here. So use good wine. You know, like they say, if wine isn't good enough to drink, it's not good enough to cook with, right? So the Marsala that you buy in the grocery store down on the bottom near the, to the liquor store, buy a proper bottle of Marsala to cook with. Same thing here. So I've put the bottle of red wine, right about a half bottle of it. And now I'm supposed to use beef broth. My friends at Trader Joe's are my very good friends. And just then enough to cover it, right? And then I have to add some tomato paste. Almost. I think we need a little more. There we go. There we go. I have a friend who is now either an MS or an MW. I'm not going to say so that you won't know who I'm talking about. But years ago was at a wine store where in a very, very Tony neighborhood where people came in all the time and were like, I need a bottle of Barolo. Oh, what kind of Barolo would you like to buy? I need Barolo to cook with. She would beg them not to use Barolo. Here's a really, really, really nice bottle of that is cooking quality, but not the kind of thing that should be, oh no, we must have this. And they would literally cook with cellarable wines. And that makes, frankly, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant in me wants to take an X-Acto knife right down and peel the skin off my head when I hear stories like that. That's just offensive to me. To waste money like that, and B, to waste art like that. All right? So anyway, let's see what's next. I need some thyme. So here comes some thyme. It's been out here for just the last couple of days. And when it gets to this place, it's dry, but it's only been out in the air for a few days. And I very, very gently just roll it between my hands. And so this is freshly dried. It's not fresh, it's freshly dried right here in my little Chelsea apartment. So here we go. So there's some thyme that it wants. And let me just see here and a little tomato paste. So I decided, hello Carolyn, I grabbed this morning, just went by, was running through the grocery store like a crazy person and grabbed, but look what I got. I didn't get tomato paste, I got tomato garlic paste. I've never had tomato garlic paste. I've never seen a recipe call for tomato garlic paste. So we're going to go to the fridge and we're going to use my, God only knows if it's fresh enough, tomato paste. So I think I need a half tablespoon of that, and I think that seems right to me. And then what else do we have to do? We're getting close to the let it sit and simmer for an hour and a quarter. And yeah, there we go. That's all I have to do. All good. So now this is, give it a stir, right? Make sure that your tomato paste is going to get down into your yumminess. Make sure everything has been touched by the liquid, right? There's going to be a little bit. You don't want this to be super soupy when it's done, right? You want it to cook down. You want the liquid to cook in. So here we go. We're going to cover that up. Let's see if my timer's working today. Click, click, click. It's all 8s. I don't understand. So anyway, this is going to simmer for an hour and a half. And when it's done, and when that's done, then we're going to make a little roux, a little slurry with butter and flour, so it'll tighten up. And then the last bit of cooking, this is worthless, will be to the mushrooms and pearl onions. The one thing I would say to you is one of my favorite dishes I've ever made in my life is something like this, similar to this, but with cipollini onions. I love cipollini onions. This big flat, oh, they are a nightmare to peel, to deal with. And I can't deal with them, so I don't deal with them. So don't go get them, buy them. You know, most of these call for, like, several of the recipes said, for 6 people, for 6 servings, put 18 pearl onions in it. I'm like, doesn't that seem like a waste of pearl onions? If you've gone to all, maybe it's just because that's all that you can manage to stand to do before the days when you could go and get them bird's eye frozen and peeled and ready to go. So there's that. So I will cut up my mushrooms into pieces and such. But the other thing that I'm going to do today is, now I can't make it right now because my eggs need to be room temperature. But it's so funny. I texted my friend Jamie this morning and I said, Jamie, I said, I want to make popovers. I want to make popovers. Do you have a recipe? Jamie's my go-to recipe guy. And he said, I really don't, because his old roommate used to love to go and eat popovers. And I knew that he was in the same place I was. And I want to make popovers because on the Upper West Side for many years, between 87th and 88th on Amsterdam, gun to hit my head, that's where I think it was, there was a place called the Popover Cafe. And for the first decade I lived in New York, I would go and eat the same thing every single time. I ordered a glass of Cotes du Rhone and a popover with a salt shaker and butter for my main course. And then I had a glass of off-dry Riesling and a popover with their strawberry butter for my dessert. And those of you who've been watching me know your eyes are this big. You're like, dessert? Alyssa doesn't eat dessert. Of course I don't eat dessert. But strawberry butter is not dessert. That said, I'm waiting for my eggs to come to room temperature, and I am going to mix up a batch of popover batter sometime today. I may or may not do that live, but even though tomorrow is not a regular cooking and quarantine day, I might show off my my popovers if they turn out nicely. That said, I do have butter here softening, and while at Popover Cafe they served you strawberry butter, I happen to have sour cherry spread. Having the price tag on it is very not classy, so let me do this. I have sour cherry spread that I keep because it's the same people that I buy fig jelly from for cheese boards. So I'm thinking that the combination of these smeared on a dessert popover is going to be delicious tomorrow. And so why not? Why not popovers and Boeuf Bourguignon? Again, another thing that really you want it to sit overnight. It's just going to get better. You want those flavors to meld together. You want it to tighten up. Just the fact that I left that soup to sit for about 4.5 hours before we came back to eat it made all the difference in the world. It was delicious, right? But it was so much better later. And by the way, that little sour cream, heavy cream, lemon zest, salt, pepper. My friend who came to dinner was literally like, I can't get enough of this. She finally said, if you don't take it away, I'm going to eat it with the spoon that's in the bowl. So that was a pretty good thing. So let's see who's come here today. Hello, Carolyn. And hello, Garten. And hello, Ron. And where, could that be Lon? It could be Lon. You never know. So everybody say congratulations to Lon. And this is slowly cooking, but I do need to put a timer on it so that I won't forget about it. I went out the other day, and remembered that I had left something simmering on the stove. So an hour and 10 minutes should be right about right. So I've got my timer going here. And guys, I have to address it. I sort of flippantly addressed it at the top of the hour, but the schools in New York are closed again. It's funny, I know that you guys think of it probably as the national news, but like the CBS Morning News, whatever your morning news program, is my community news. So when Gail and Tony are sitting there talking to the mayor, that's my local news, right? Well, they were bananas. I thought they both were going to leap out of the TV this morning. How can you close the schools and leave the restaurants open? And he literally said, the governor is going to address that and make some level orange changes that are going to go into effect immediately. Okay? Seems pretty good to me. They went on and on and on like they weren't listening. When, as God is my witness, I really like to think that if your job is to be on the news and interview people, listening is your job, right? So anyway, there's that. So guys, I thought it was going to be December 10th. I thought it was going to take Thanksgiving to get us back to this place, but here we are. So guys, please, I beg of you, I don't care what your religious beliefs are, or lack thereof. I don't care what your political beliefs are, or lack thereof. I don't care what level of education you got. I am here to tell you that if you don't understand that sneezing into your hands or coughing into your elbow is absolutely no different than wearing a mask, I don't know how to argue with you. And I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just going to say, for the love of God, wear a mask. We are so close, guys. We are so close. And I saw a meme this morning that said, Zoom Thanksgiving is a heck of a lot better than ICU Christmas. I am not going anywhere for Thanksgiving. I have to have a medical procedure. I have to, in the next 3 weeks, and I have to pass a COVID test for that. So to go to where I normally go for Thanksgiving, where there's going to be 25 people in a house, it's not where I have to take the Amtrak. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stay here by myself. I spent the first 75 days by myself. If I can do it, you can do it. If I can get up and put on makeup and wash my hair and make food and explain it to you and beg you to wear a mask every day, you can wear a mask. And if I can stay here by myself at Thanksgiving, you can wear a mask. And I'm not going home for Christmas. You can wear a mask. Wear a mask. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here all by myself, basically between now and the new year. If I can do that, so can you. Wear a mask. Every time you don't wear a mask, you tell me that you don't love your neighbor. And that is a non-negotiable. Love your neighbor has no exceptions. So when you don't wear a mask, you show me that you do not respect what you say you respect. Wear a mask. Have I said it enough? Wear a mask. The only reason I haven't sworn is because my mother says that ladies of her generation take offense when I swear, even though people in my generation know that the more you swear, the more likely you are that you're being emotionally honest. So, oh my gosh, how I have censored myself just now. Wear a mask. So, thank you guys for all coming here. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for staying with me. What is going on down here? I hope it's just a little makeup that I didn't blend in. Isn't that interesting? See, I make mistakes all the time. You can too. Wear a mask. I love you. I'll see you next week. I might even see you later if my popovers turn out great.